This is Secret America.
Welcome, everybody. I am Jack Danger along with Jay Gatling. Jay, how you doing today?
Doing great, Jack. Hope you had a great weekend. Ready to go.
Oh, yeah, definitely ready to go because the theme of what we're doing today is America fighting back. Not just America, but the Western world, in fact. We have people that are actually willing to fight back. And whether it sounds like racism or not, whether people think it's racism or not, really, it's really the only way you can fight back at this point. Because when people are so racist to you to the point where it's not going to be a shock factor if you say anything else. If you want to get back at them, you shock them. You have to shock the conscience. And that's kind of what we do here also to try to wake people up. We shock the conscience. And what happened recently with the server, the cashier at Cinnabon. Did you see this? Did you see this, Jay, where this woman, apparently what happened was she was accosted by these two Somalians. And what they did, and this is the thing that really pisses me off, especially in today's climate. People will do whatever they can to get under your skin, say the worst shit to you. Then, after they're done talking, then they turn the camera on. That way, they get your reaction, but not what they did. Okay, and that's what happened here. This woman, apparently, I forget what her name is. Like it's Crystal. This woman here was being accosted by a Somalian couple who were sexually harassing her because she was a white female and was not wearing a hijab. That was the whole thing there. She was not wearing a hijab. They were sexually harassing her because of that. And then as soon as they were finished with their part, they turned the camera on and they get her saying, F you, you're an N, I don't mind telling the whole world. And quite honestly, it goes both ways. I mean, if you're gonna sexually harass this woman and then also racially harass her for being white, not wearing a hijab, not being Muslim, whatever it is, she can do what I feel like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I'm an eye for an eye type of person. I believe that what she did was justified. And I also believe that that's why the Somalian couples, I think it's a GoFundMe or something. The Somalian couples GoFundMe for their therapy, because they were really hurt by what she said. Their GoFundMe had $20 last time I checked. Hers has 113,000, Jay.
Well, obviously it's touched a nerve if the numbers speak for themselves. There's a lot here. I personally can't stand that word when anybody says it. I don't want the word said by anybody, but when I say that, I get told that I'm crazy, that no certain people are allowed to say. I say, why? It's an offensive word. It's an offensive word, and it shouldn't be said by anybody. That's number one. But you are correct when you say, you know what? They set her up, and she fall into a trap? I guess she did, but I guess her reaction was authentic because she's getting sick and tired. She got sick and tired of whatever they were giving her, and she gave some back. Mm-hmm. And like I said, would I have done it differently? Yeah, probably, but that's just me. I'm not going to go and judge her because she went over the top, in my opinion, maybe a little bit, Jack, but maybe she just lost it. She had enough, and she's had it. And many people are frustrated with the fact that, because you're white, you don't get to say anything back at all.
Exactly.
That's the problem. And like I said, I would have handled it differently, but I'm still saying something back. And guess what, Jack? Even if I don't use certain words, I would have been called a racist too, just because I was responding back to certain people. And that's got to stop. Okay? Reverse racism is racism.
Why are we called? Why is the word reverse in there? Tell me, why is that in there? What is reverse? Racism is racism.
Yeah, because it's the minority doing it to the majority, right?
Are they the minority though?
Well,
I mean, that white people are like 3% of the population these days.
It might not be for long, but right now it still is, right? But it's always been that way where the majority just has to sit there and take it and can't say anything, and because they're, I guess, the majority, which is no fault of mine or yours or anybody else who happens to be white, right? It's not your fault. It's just the way things are, but I shouldn't be subjected to anything like that. And I shouldn't give it to anybody else either. It goes both ways, and that's what has to be understood here. That's the problem. It shouldn't be that this girl gets completely her life ruined because she gave it back to people who were giving it to her. and
Well,
because she's white and they're not. And
well,
that's the, go
it's
ahead.
just ridiculous. I'm sorry, Jay. What's ridiculous is the fact that there's a word out there that some people can say and others can't. That's just not realistic. Okay, you can't have that. Like, okay, so this race can say it, but this race cannot.
Exactly.
That of itself is racist.
Exactly. That's what I was saying before. It shouldn't be said. If it's an offensive word, it shouldn't be said by anybody. And that's how I feel about it.
I mean, you're right. The people that say, excuse my language here, everybody. The people that say cunt. That's a cringe word. It makes you cringe when you hear it.
Right.
Why? Different people have different associations with it. But when you hear the N word and see people, it's a bad word when you have to say the N word. You can't actually say the word. You have to say N word.
Correct.
You know what I mean? But
Yes.
if I were black and I said it on here, people would be like, "Oh, that's so fun." But I could make a joke, call myself the N word if I were black, and it would be okay. But if I were to say it here, even in a scientific atmosphere, even in a purely posture, atmosphere where I'm just trying to be scientific about it,
or or even a historical sense.
Exactly. You can't even say it in a historical perspective. If a teacher that's teaching a class can't say it if they're white, actually, believe it or not, it's only white people that can't say it. Because apparently whites are the only people that have ever enslaved anybody ever. And the weird thing is that, how did slavery become this thing where it's this uniquely American thing? Okay, first of all, every race in history has been enslaved at some point. And second of all, slavery didn't start in America. There was slavery thousands of years before America was ever discovered. Okay, and what really bugs me is what people don't seem to understand is that white people didn't go over to Africa, grab Africans, and bring them back on the ships. Africans sold other Africans to white people and brought them over on the ship. That's what happened.
Absolutely. And listen, we're not trying to be offensive to anybody right now. We're just talking about facts.
Exactly. It's just truth. I mean, people don't like to hear truth, Jay. That's the problem.
Well, listen, and I say all the time, I say, if I tell you the truth and that offends you, that's for you to reconcile and examine. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to be disrespectful by telling you the truth. I've heard somebody else say this, and I'm not taking credit for it. The most Christian thing you could do is tell somebody the truth, honestly. So everything you just said is true. And Jack, when it comes to slavery, I never owned slaves. You never owned slaves. Your parents never did. Your grandparents, Jack, you'd have to probably go back to your great grandparents for them to have ever had a possibility of owning slaves in the United States. So again, and this taps in today, Jasmine Crockett, I see her running for Senate, which is good news which is bad news and good news. The good news is, Jack, we're going to get a lot of material during the Senate run.
That's true.
That'll be good.
Also the fact that she has lost her seat because the Supreme Court upheld the redistricting map of Texas. So she's out of there.
Right. She's out of there. But right away, she starts talking about reparations. Wait a minute. I just said it. Nobody in this country who's alive today ever owned slaves. In fact, what our country did is it made it ironclad in our Constitution that slavery is abolished, illegal, immoral.
Did you hear what she said? Other than just reparations, though. She actually said that black people should not have to pay taxes. And she's going to work towards that goal.
Yeah, that was her way of kind of trying to take the word reparations out, but still trying to get reparations. It's absolutely absurd. But like I said, and apparently she got this idea from a celebrity, which is great. So she's getting her ideas from celebrities.
Ideas.
Like I said, the good news is, Jack, we're going to be provided with plenty of material over the next, how many months, because Jasmine Crockett is going to run for Senate. God bless her.
That's absolutely ridiculous. But we are going to get a lot of material. You're absolutely right about that. And, she is one of the most racist people, that there is. I mean, it's funny how people say, what kills me again is how can people say that black people cannot be racist? One race can always be racist to another race. And if you want the truth these days, I would say that it's the minority races that are the most racist. I mean, it is what it is. Again, that's just a fact, because you won't see white people going around being racist. I will tell you one thing here that is the biggest myth perpetuated by the media and left-wing politicians. There are no mainstream, huge white supremacist organizations. There is not a single person that's watching this or anywhere else that actually knows a white supremacist. I mean, an actual white supremacist. Someone that has the tattoos, on their face. Someone that shaved their head. Someone that'll say the N-word in front of anybody. No, you don't know that person, because that person is maybe 1 in a million these days. But, oh, no, don't tell that to the black people in Congress. No, white supremacy is the biggest issue. They are the number one domestic terrorist, white supremacists, despite the fact that there have been no white supremacist attacks probably since the 1800s. I have not seen any domestic terror attacks created by white supremacists, yet they are the number one domestic terrorist group. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, and then you got the pandering from other politicians like Joe Biden, the president, former president of the United States, who would stand up behind a microphone and say the same thing. Listen, we have so little racism in this country that we have people who have to go out and make up scenarios, i.e. Jussie Smollett, Bubba Wallace, go on and on about things that were fabricated out of thin air.
Well,
so
wait.
Go ahead.
Let me rephrase that. We don't have so little racism. We have so little racism from white people these days. Because let's be honest now, there is a ton of racism coming at white people. In fact, anti-white racism is probably the number one. What would you call something? The number one hate thing. I mean, I don't really know the number one hate statistic. Whatever the number one hate topic is, anti-white racism is the number one hate issue. That's the thing that people love to do the most, is be anti-white.
Well, you can get away with it. Nothing happens. That's the problem. Like we said, it's okay for the minority, quote unquote, to do it to the majority. That needs to stop, regardless who the majority or the minority is. Because here's what I want, Jack. And I believe Martin Luther King said, content of character, meritocracy. That's what this country is all about. That's how it's built. That's what the laws are set. They are set to reward meritocracy. However, we're gone backwards. And I'll say we've gone backwards since 2009. And we know who got into office then. Okay. And just look, I think this country was on its way to really putting everything behind it in a very big way and moving past all of it. But then we had somebody come in who knows that stuff sells. That stuff makes money. That stuff gets headlines. That stuff gets me elected and keeps me elected and keeps me in power and keeps the money coming in. So that's what it comes down to, Jack. I don't think even a lot of these people that, jump on these incidents when it comes to the police or anybody else, I don't even think they believe it 95% of the time. I just think they know it's going to get my name out there and I'm going to get rich.
Well, I want to tell you one thing. The media perpetuates most of everything. The media is to blame for everything, including the New York Post. For people that are on the right that think the New York Post, does good thing for us, they don't. All they do is put out the shit they think will sell the most magazines. Let me tell you why. Okay, there is the front page of the New York Post. Actually, it's not the front page, but it's an article in the New York Post says, serial criminal Cinnabon worker in viral hate video denies she's racist. Did you hear that? Serial criminal Cinnabon worker in viral hate video. That was their top sentence right there. Not that this woman was provoked, not that this woman fought back, and not that most Americans agree with this woman fighting back. Not that we agree with what she said. We agree with the fact that she fought back. But the media has to perpetuate something that will not only sell the most things, but what will keep the storyline going, the narrative that is out there. There is a certain narrative that the people that own the media want out there. And that narrative is that the black people are oppressed, white people are white supremacists. And why do they want that narrative out there? For two reasons. One, it'll make black people want to hate white people. And two, it'll keep us divided. Divided is the number one thing, because if we are divided against each other, we are not fighting the government. We are not looking into the media and see what the hell they're doing. If we're fighting each other, we can't fight any other institution in the country. And I think that's what Obama figured out his first year in office. And ever since then, that is why, Jay, that he modernized, amended the Smith-Mundt Act to allow domestic propaganda like this BS from the New York Post. That is exactly why he did it.
2 + 2 is 4. And you just did 2 + 2, and it always equals 4, right? So you are right. And what they remember with Michael Brown, when CNN all the anchors, hands up, don't shoot. It was a lie, huge lie, a huge lie. And look how that tore the country to pieces. Okay, George Floyd. There was nothing in the George Floyd incident that was race related. Nothing during the George Floyd trial Race never came
He
up.
wasn't even killed by the cops. Let's be real.
Well, that's a whole nother story. Let's look at the coroner's report, right? But when we're talking about race, that turned into that turned into the reason why NFL football fields have messages on the field and players wearing stuff on the back of their helmets. And it had zero to do with race. But somehow, because it was a white police officer and we had a black person, a black perpetrator who died in police custody, it turns into a race issue. It's got to stop. And you know what? There are plenty of people out there of all races that want to see this stuff end because, like you said, all it does is divide. And it doesn't. And when we're divided, like you said, we can't come together and fight back against what's going on in the government. They keep winning, right? So it terrified them when they saw President Trump get a very decent percentage of the male black vote for the first time, a 55% of the Hispanic male vote. That is unheard of. That terrified them. So guess what they got to do? They got to find ways to turn it up even more, like you said, to make everybody hate each other again. That's it.
But let me tell you exactly why this Crystal from Cinnabon, why she got so much money and why she will continue to get money and why I will repost her give send go whatever the hell it is page to get donations. I'm going to tell you why. Because she fought back and she didn't care that they were filming her. She said, "I'll say it to the whole world," with her middle fingers up. That's how people are so enraged at what's going on out there nowadays that this is what they want. They want to see somebody fight back and not be scared because the cameras are on. No, they want to see somebody fight back. So people are donating. Even George Floyd donated to her. I put out a tweet earlier where George Floyd actually donated to her. Someone named George Floyd. It may not have been our George Floyd. I don't know. But it was someone named George Floyd donated to her. But you know, the bigger problem here is, and I'm going to tell you exactly why people want to give her money and why she might even end up with $1 million for this, because people want to see a white person fight back. And I'm going to tell you why, because here's exactly another thing that happened that's pissing everybody off. A black man was just acquitted after stabbing a white man by a Portland jury because, and I quote, he said the N-word after he was stabbed. He was stabbed. He said the N-word. So the Portland jury let the stabber go because he was black and he heard the N-word after he stabbed the guy.
That is insane. But it's Portland. I'm actually surprised that anybody got arrested, Jack. Let's start there. But that isn't that. Well, it's insane, but it is Portland. Let me tell you a story. When I got sworn in, the day I got sworn in to the NYPD in 1996, I'll never forget it. They had a bunch of people come and speak on the stage, members of the department, and there was a black female sergeant, and she came up on stage and spoke, and she said, "There's plenty of people in here. It was about 1,500 people in a class in that academy." Mm-hmm. And she said, "You got white people. I see black people. I see this. I see that." She said, "You in here are all blue. Every last one of you are blue. All that other stuff goes out the window." And she said, "We are the biggest gang in New York and we don't lose. So whatever happens out there, you are blue and end it. And we are going to win." Now, Jack, do you think somebody could get up on stage and say something like that to a bunch of cops just getting sworn in today?
No,
I doubt it. Hell no. Right. But that's my point. Things have gone backwards. This was 1996. That wouldn't be allowed to be said today. And why not? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with what she said. Actually, she was damn right. And she wouldn't be allowed to say it. They wouldn't have the guts to say it because nobody would want to get fired. So things have gone backwards. And that's it. And listen, this woman, as I said, would I have handled it the way she did? No, I probably wouldn't have handled it exactly how she did. I wouldn't have. But she handled it the way she did, and it struck nerves, like you said, because I think people are just sick and tired of being saying, "I just got to take it because I'm that." No, I don't have to take it, and I don't have to be afraid of speaking truth in general. I'm not saying whatever she said. I'm saying in general, I shouldn't be afraid to speak truth, to say, we can't have the whole third world come here. We can't have Islam come and take over our country. There's nothing wrong with saying that. That's the truth. And if that offends somebody, they have to look at themselves and re-examine themselves, not me.
You are absolutely right. And it's great because someone actually said a quote, and I want to see if I can get this real quick. It is actually the best quote that I could say for. Okay, here it is right here. Actually, her name is Ann Whitcomb. Okay, and her quote, she actually, I don't know when she said this. It's on video, but I'm just gonna read it. She said, "Nobody has the right to live their lives being protected from offense or from insults or from hurt feelings. It is an occupational hazard of living in society." And I thought that was brilliant. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Well, listen, when I was young, Jack, I'm older than you, right? Okay, I'll admit that's fine. But when I was little, the term was "sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me." Okay, and we lived by that. Said, oh, somebody calls you a name, you know, call them a name back. You know, it's not going to hurt you when somebody calls you a name. And we've gotten to the point where you can't even call somebody a name without, oh my God, my feelings are hurt. Forget about the corporate world, Jack. I thank God I'm retired. I don't think I would last a week in the corporate world because it's gotten worse. I've only been retired 4 years, Jack, and it's gotten worse. It's not getting better. And maybe this thing that just happened in this Cinnabon will maybe at least spark the discussion. I think it has, because we're having it right now. So at least this has maybe gotten the discussion going, like, hey, where are we going here? Like, why is this gotten so many people riled up? Why is her give, send, go, whatever it is, over $100,000? Well, we got to think about why. There's a reason. And it's really, look, we're looking at it right in the face, right? So that had to be talked about. And I'm glad we're talking about it.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely glad we're talking about it. And, you know, there's so many, you know, so many nuances to this thing. You know what I mean? So many different, you know, ways you can go with it. And people are just tired of being victims. You got one race, and I'm going to be real here. You got one race that is playing the victim. You got the other race that is being forced to be the victim. And I think we're tired of it. I think everybody's tired of it. And, you know, we're just not going to take that shit anymore. So, you know, honestly, I encourage people to fight back. I mean, you know, if someone's coming at you with some bullshit, I encourage people to fight back.
Yeah, no, I again, and do it the way you think is best, right? I mean,
the way now, I'm not going to tell anybody how to fight back.
Right.
I would have handled it differently the way she did. In fact, I probably wouldn't, other than the one word that she said. Otherwise, I would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah,
but you know. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I wouldn't have used the word either. I don't use that word. As I said, I think the word shouldn't be used by anybody. And we talked about it already. It shouldn't be used. And why somebody is allowed to use it and some people, it's ridiculous. It's solve that right there. And I think we're actually making progress and I used this already on another show we did, Jack, where I said the Morgan Freeman interview on 60 Minutes, where he just said, just call me Morgan Freeman, an American. I don't need to be Morgan Freeman, the black man. I'm just an American, and I'll look at you as Mike Wallace, the American, and let's go from there. If we start there, I think we're making some progress, but we got a ways to go because there's so many people that it's a cottage industry, Jack. It's people make too much money off of this stuff.
Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But you know, it's mainly the division that the government and, you know, others want. That's the reason that it keeps being perpetuated by the mainstream media. And the media, you know, they control pretty much everything. They control half the population, and if they control half the population, they can get that population to fight this half of the population just by, you know, saying, you know, just by getting them to say certain things. You know, just by getting them to believe they are the victims. You know, that's you know, and it's just absolutely, you know, it's angering. It's angering. But, you know, there's a lot more that's going on. So I'm going to switch to something else because there's so many things that have gone on. Some absolutely off the wall stuff. But first, people wonder why we rail against Islam here. Not people, but some people. Let's say anybody. Let's just put it this way: anybody that wonders why we rail against Islam here, why we don't want Islam to take over America and other countries. I'm going to give you a short video of why. And this is going to be hard to watch, okay? It's going to be very hard to watch, in fact, because what it is it is a 9-year-old girl crying as she is being sold by her family and being forced into an arranged marriage with a 60-year-old man. She's being forced to sign the marriage certificate while the man hands money to her parents. It's going to be hard to watch, but this is Islam. This is Sharia law. And yes, if she is able to bear children in Islam, they are allowed to rape her And it's going to be tough to watch, but it's something that's got to be done. You got to shock the conscience here. Got to get people to see what the hell's going on. And if you don't like it, change the channel or something, because it's something we got to do, something I got to do anyway. All right, so I'm going to bring this up right here. And it's nothing sick, nothing vile, nothing. You're not going to see any nudity or anything. It's just hard to watch because it's heartbreaking. Okay? It's absolutely heartbreaking.
Where did this happen, Jack?
That I don't know. I can't tell you. All I can tell you is what's going on here.
Okay.
Here we go. See? That's the 9-year-old girl right there. That is hard to watch. And that is the kind of thing that goes on all the time in Muslim countries.
That is sick. That poor girl, you see her hand shaking. I want to take everybody in that room that's an adult, and I won't say what I want to do to them. But, that isn't, listen, it doesn't match. It can't work in our society.
No, Islam's not compatible with the Western world.
It can't. It just, right. It just is not.
That's why they want to take over.
We can't accept it. We can't allow it. We just cannot. So that's why, as you said, why we rail against it so much, because, and people go, it won't, it'll never happen. It's happening.
It's happened in the UK already. And not only that, did you know that the media, and it's crazy because the media and the politicians are perpetuating it, getting the other half of the country, again, to look at Islam, the Muslims, as victims, because they want them to be able to take over. If Muslims can take over, the media and the people, especially the politicians, believe for some odd reason that they can control the Muslims. So if they take over, they have slaves for life. That's what they're thinking. That's their thought process here. I just don't understand it, because these people will gladly kill all of them.
Look, there's a lot of useful idiots that'll be. I always say the useful idiots are the first ones to go once the takeover happens, right? Oh, thank you very much. Now you better go along with me 100%, or you're gone. You'll be the first one to go. You're the easy one. You're already here. You put me here. You're right in front of me. They're the useful idiots are the easiest ones to go. They're the first to go. So you're right. I don't get what they don't see, what they're not understanding. It has nothing to do. See, we're talking Islam. We're not talking Muslim, right? We're talking Islam.
Well, there's two different things. Not all Muslims practice Islam. Some practice Hindu or whatever else it is. So we are talking specifically Islam. Yes.
Correct. And you know what? Also, though, Jack, I want the other the Muslims, not the ones practicing Islam, but the Muslims who know this all too well and better than anybody. You need to speak up. You guys need to speak up. You ladies need to speak up. You know it all too well. In fact, you probably left where you were to come here to get away from it. So it's kind of like when we hear people from Cuba, and when they're the most staunchly against communism and socialism, where they say, hey, there's stuff going on in New York City. You got to watch out for that. You can't let that, right? Where is the Muslim community to come out and say, hey, this stuff you see going on, we have to stop it? Is it that they're afraid, Jack? What in just your opinion? I don't know. What's the reason that we're not seeing that yet? Has it not gotten bad enough yet?
I think that is happening, but the problem is, as I've said, the media controls half the country. So that half of the country is going to do whatever they say. And if they say Islam is the future, if they say Islam is being oppressed, if they say Islam is the victims, they are going to fight for them. So that is exactly what is going to happen until we can get rid of the media completely. The goal is we have to get rid of mainstream media's hold on the other side of the country. Yeah, we may be free, but as long as the other half of the country is still enslaved by the mainstream media, then we will always have to fight them. And a lot of us, I mean, not me personally, but many of us, as I said last week, are not willing to risk their comfortability for their freedom. So they will allow Islam to take over because they don't want to have to fight. Eventually, though, as they take over, they're going to lose their comfortability also. They just don't want to lose it right. They don't want to risk it right now for their freedom. And they will lose it all.
They're thinking very short term. And as far as the media, right? As far as the media goes,
it's all the media, all of it.
Jack, they just extend ABC, for example, just extended Jimmy Kimmel for a year. This show loses money, a lot of money.
And they're being perpetuated by the Black Ops budgets. Like the USAID paid Politico and New York Times to keep these people on because they are dividing the country, because they'll do what they tell them to do.
They are actors, literally. Forget about Jimmy Kimmel. He's a late night show, talk show host, right? The people you see behind these news desks, the Andrew Wilkow line, I'll steal from him. The glass tables with the network logo coffee mugs, right? The people you see sitting around those tables, they're actors.
Yes,
they are actors. They're playing a role, and they do it extremely well. They read the teleprompter very well. They can feign emotion very well. They are experts at it. These people are actors. I think that some of them don't believe a word that they are saying. They are just getting a very nice paycheck, and they are just reading a script. That's all they're doing. But Jack, at this point, those people are the elites. They are the elites. So to them, hey, listen, if I'm getting paid this amount of money to do this, I'll probably be okay if everything comes crashing down. I'm above the pricing system at this point. I'll be all right. I'll live. The only person I really see speaking out about taxes who's in that kind of stratosphere, and you know who it is? It's Stephen A. Smith. I see him saying, I don't want to pay more taxes. I'm actually upset about that. And I disagree with Stephen A. Smith probably on 90% of the things he talks about.
Yeah.
But when he says that, I'm like, at least he's being honest.
Definitely. And believe it or not, I used to hate him. I loved him when I watched ESPN because I used to be a big sports guy, Yep. But I still am. But the thing is, I don't really watch ESPN that much anymore because it just became too political with Disney and all that BS. Yep. Way too political. But he will tell the truth whether it's on the left or the right. Now he leans far left, if you ask me, but he still will call them out when he has to. The same way we do with the right. We call them out if we have to. He will call out the left if it's something, that needs to be called out. So I got to give him props on that. I will give him props on that.
Well, he did it the other day on The View when he went on The View. And Sonny Hostin said it was about the drug boats. Excuse me. And he said, I didn't stutter when I said what I said. And she's like, oh, you be loud and wrong again or whatever. He said, yeah, I'll be loud and wrong. So I didn't stutter. I said what I said and I meant what I said. And he went back at them, a few times. And I respect him for it. Like I said, I don't probably 90% of here's the thing with Stephen A. Smith, Jack. And it's kind of like a Bill Maher. He still has TDS. He has a severe case of TDS. So it does kind of, it stops him. Besides the fact that Disney owns ESPN and everybody else, it does stop him from really just going all the way over, if you know what I mean. He's still got to kind of play the role. But as far as Democrats go, he's one of the ones that kind of makes more sense than most, I guess.
Oh, yeah. So switching gears real quick, I got to talk to you about something that is absolutely insane. Okay. Kathy Hochul, okay, and Andrew Cuomo, back when Kathy Hochul was lieutenant governor and Andrew Cuomo was
Hochul, Jack. You got to say it like a New Yorker. Kathy Hochul.
Oh, well, it looks like a Hochul to me, so I say Hochul.
It's Hochul.
Well, so Kathy, Hochul is, the thing is, she, believe it or not, there is actually bombshell evidence right now that from the Linda Sun corruption trial. I don't know if you've been following this, but the Linda Sun corruption trial actually revealed that the accused Chinese agent was texting the Beijing consulate officials back when Kathy Hochul was lieutenant governor, that she was much more obedient than Governor Andrew Cuomo. She said, quote, "The deputy governor listens to me more than the governor does." And I don't think people realize how big this is. This is a corruption trial from a Chinese spy. Okay. This is back when she actually texted the Beijing consulate officials that ran her handlers, that Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul listens to me more than the governor does, that she is much more obedient than Governor Andrew Cuomo. And then Kathy Hochul gets elevated to governor right after that. I mean, it is absolutely shocking. And there's a video on the Chinese consulate's YouTube page right now where it says, where Hochul is on video saying it is a privilege to work with Ping, Chinese Consul General Huang Ping, in January 2021. that she actually, this is Linda Sun wrote to the Consulate General, Ping, in 2021, you know, that the deputy governor listens to me more than the governor does. And then she gets on video saying that it's a privilege to work with Ping. Sun also promised Chinese officials that she would stop Cuomo from mentioning the atrocities in, I don't know how to pronounce it, Uguar or something. And she said, quote, "I will definitely not let the governor bring it up." Apparently what she got in return, millions were funneled to her husband's seafood company, a Ferrari Roma, a $4 million Long Island mansion, a $2 million Hawaii home, and many other things, okay? And it's absolutely amazing that this was a Chinese spy who basically apparently controlled Governor Kathy Hochul, or then Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, and Governor Andrew Cuomo. She said that she will not let Andrew Cuomo bring up these atrocities. That means that she controlled what he says. And she said that Kathy Hochul is more obedient. I mean, how unbelievable is that? Right after Eric Swalwell gets caught, you know, being with a Chinese spy. And what people don't know about that, Fang Fang, what they don't know, 2 months, count them, 2 months after we found out that she was a Chinese spy and was with Eric Swalwell, she dies in a plane crash.
Well, I mean, listen, that's my governor. Congratulations to me, I guess. Yeah. And at the same time, anything like that would be career ending for a Republican. Career ending, over, gone, politically dead, right?
If we had a real media, yeah.
Exactly. If we had an honest, even a neutral media, that would be career ending, just like it would have been for Swallowswell, whatever his name is, right? Whatever, whatever it was for him. But Kathy Hochul, and I'm going to say Hochul because that's how we say it here. I can't not say it the other way I say it. So Kathy Hochul, okay. And it's interesting you say she was, you know, Cuomo was then gone shortly after, right? There were reasons for him being gone where, you know, maybe he wasn't as controllable, right?
Yeah.
They just said it. They just said it. He wasn't the Democrats' cup of tea because he was going to run for president, Jack, and they didn't want him. So they pulled out the oldest card in the book, which was sexual harassment. Where are all those women now that accused Andrew Cuomo of sexual harassment? We ever heard of them again? We haven't heard a thing about them again. Never. They always just go away. After they get out who they want to get out, they all go away, right? So, right, Kathy Hochul, though, she's there. But hey, I'm knocking on Elise Stefanik's door right now, Jack. I hope she runs with this one because this is bad. It's bad.
Really bad. She needs to talk about this. This needs to be in the ads. I mean, this woman, why is this person not being brought up on charges? And why is there not a Senate hearing about this? This woman was lieutenant governor, is now governor, and was apparently being run by a Chinese spy.
Incredible.
It's all over the news, all over the world. And people are laughing at America because America doesn't punish anything. No corruption is punished in America. So they laugh at it. They absolutely laugh at it. Places like Venezuela, places like Ukraine laugh at America's corruption. And that's pretty bad.
Well, you know, corruption or supposed corruption or alleged corruption does get punished if you're a Republican, Jack.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. But if you're a Democrat, no, you literally have to find gold bars in somebody's pocket for the second time, like they did on Bob Menendez.
And they still don't remove him until he's found guilty.
Incredible. It's incredible. Meanwhile, you know, before George Santos was even convicted of anything, you got Republicans that can't wait to expel him from Congress. It's amazing. It is amazing. The Republican Party, and I guess I just got to say this, the Republican Party would rather be a minority party. They'd rather be a minority opposition party where they don't have to really worry about anything other than go on TV and talking tough and say, I voted for this, but I don't have to worry about getting passed. I don't have to worry about taking responsibility for anything because I'm not in power, but I'm going to sound real good. And you know who started that for me, Jack? Who really, you know, in my lifetime? Trey Gowdy. Trey Gowdy with Hillary Clinton, with the whole Benghazi thing. He's going to get her. Listen to Trey Gowdy. Listen how good he sounds. Nothing. Nope. Nothing.
And it never Trump did the same thing in 2016. Lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. As soon as he gets in office, nothing.
Mistake.
Never hear it again.
Huge mistake. That was a huge mistake that he made. He made a couple in his first term. And it was his first term where he came out of, he wasn't a politician. He knew nothing going into Washington. He knew who the people were. He'd met them, but he didn't know the inner workings, how this really works. And that was a huge mistake. keeping Fauci for more than 10 seconds was a huge mistake. There's a couple other ones that not firing Comey immediately day one was a huge mistake. It all came back to bite him, but that's water under the bridge now. But going back to the conversation, these people need to be held to account. Please, for once, we talked about this last week. We need to see accountability. Go to Somalia with Tim Walz. Tim Walz is still surviving. Will he survive this? I don't know. That's how bad this is. But again, if that was a Republican, already gone.
Well, let me tell you what needs to happen, and if it doesn't, we already know this. So we already know what's going to happen to the 2026 midterms, because these pardons, as we first reported, we were like, Secret America was the first ones to report on this thing, but these pardons were voided by Donald Trump. And obviously that can go to court, whatever it is. But if he does not, after these pardons being voided, and with the January 6th committee destroying evidence, jailing people without due process, if they are not charged after this, if Anthony Fauci is not charged with crimes against humanity, if nobody is actually arrested and charged with anything, I can guarantee you that the Democrats win the House and the Senate in 2026. It will be a landslide, because, we voted, all of us, 90% of us, in the middle and on the right, voted for justice in 2024. We have not gotten it. And if we don't get it by 2026, the Democrats are going to run everything. And I'm sorry to say that, but we're not going to rush to the polls to vote for something that's not going to happen again. We're just not going to do it. You don't get 10, 20, 30 chances. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen. And we're tired of it. We're tired of all that. Like, let me tell you something else that's going on. Okay. A DEA official under Barack Obama, the chief financial director under Barack Obama, was just arrested for being willing to launder $12 million while he was the chief financial director of the DEA under Barack Obama. There are so many things, but Barack Obama is never arrested. And this guy's only arrested because he's an agent. He's not a Democrat. He's not, a politician. And he's not Barack Obama. Nobody like that. Nobody is ever arrested. All they do is give you little bits and pieces. Here's some crumbs. There's some crumbs. It's so angering, and people are just tired of it. And honestly, I'm tired of having to beat the drum and I shouldn't have to ask for justice. America is founded on justice. We have the scales of justice, for God's sakes. But right now, the scales of justice are way up and down.
Yeah, I've used that too. When I said, justice is blind with the blindfold, I said the blindfold is off and the scales aren't being held. There's a finger being pointed, and it's being pointed at one side, and it's us, right? We're the bad guys. At the same time, today, Alina Habba, she's out as New Jersey's top prosecutor, as the DA in New Jersey. Okay. Yeah. Because these blue slip things, and Trump talked about it today. He is not happy. He said today, it's ridiculous that they're able to blue slip her when Republicans don't do it to Democrats.
No.
And he said, I can't get anybody in. I literally have to nominate a Democrat in these where there's a Democrat senator in one of these states in order for them to get through. And he's like, it's a gentleman's agreement that Republicans seem to honor for Democrats, but that they don't expect that they don't do the same to the other way around. And he's like, I can't get the people I want. And Alina Habba is outstanding. And now she's gone. And now we have to wait to see if the Supreme Court overrules this court that just said she couldn't serve. But that's going to take time. And now what happens? It's just an example of just us getting our teeth kicked in even when we win. And we are getting tired of it. I agree with you. Now, can things turn around with the economy? And I think it will come into 2026. Yes. But yes, I do agree with you and the people who are very hard on this, that yes, we need to see some scalps. We need to see some scalps. We have to. We have the stuff in front of us. You're right. We did vote for this. We voted to see these people take a mugshot like President Trump did, like they forced him to do. And we're not seeing it yet. And it's getting late early.
Well, let me tell you, there are so many examples of people that could be arrested right now. J.B. Pritzker. Let me give you an example of J.B. Pritzker right now. It has been revealed that since the beginning of this year, 2025, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has released over 1,700 known criminal illegal aliens who were charged with murder and rape in other countries in an attempt to hide them from ICE detainers. That is illegal. He harbored fugitives and then basically helped them escape prison. That's basically what happened here. He is the governor that released these people. But none of these people, mayors and governors that are doing sanctuary cities, that are harboring fugitives, nobody's getting arrested. Nobody's scared of Tom Homan. He can't do shit. Okay? He's the border czar. That's not even a real title. That comes with nothing. Okay, nobody's scared of him. Nobody's scared of Kristi Noem. They don't arrest anybody. They talk big, but they do nothing. And I think it all starts with Trump. Trump is the man. He's the leader. You need to point at him and say, look, go arrest that motherfucker or you're fired. Sorry with the language. Excuse me. Go arrest them or you're fired. Go arrest them or you're fired. I would do that. I'd do it on camera. I'd be like, look, sanctuary cities are illegal. Pam Bondi, do what you got to do. Arrest them or you're fired. I mean, to me, it's now we need to fight fire with fire. I mean, Joe Biden came out and said, hey, I bribed the Ukrainian prosecutor. I said, you ain't getting $1 billion if you don't fire the Ukrainian prosecutor that's investigating my son. They fired him. I gave him the $1 billion. That's exactly what Joe Biden said. Nothing happens to these people. He admits bribery on camera. Nothing happens to him. International bribery at that. Nothing happens to him. If I'm Trump, I'm coming right out now. This is my last term. No, I'm not going to run again. I don't have to worry about re-election. I am going at these MFers as hard as I can. I'm coming out and I'm saying, look, on camera, Pam Bondi, start arresting these mayors and governors or you're fired. I'll find somebody that will.
Well, I looked into this a little bit today, and the problem with these detainers, and listen, if J.B. Pritzker, if they're actually hiding people, they are dead to rights.
Well, that's what a sanctuary city is. It's literally a fugitive harboring area.
Here's the thing, and I looked at it, and I swear to God, I didn't know you bring this up. We don't talk about this stuff. We just go with it, right? Mm-hmm. And I looked at this today, and it's the type of detainer that is being put on these people that courts have said is not binding, pretty much, where they don't have to quote unquote cooperate. But now what the Department of Homeland Security is doing at the direction of President Trump is they are starting to put detainers on these people that are 100% binding, where if they are not held in the prison upon their release for ICE, then they can be held liable. Now, again, that law has to be changed.
Now, the detainers is not what I was talking. I mean, that's part of it. I'm talking about cities where they're actually hiding these people. They're not allowing federal agents in there. They're harboring these fugitives is what they're doing.
Well, if that's the case, Jack, then yes, they should be arrested. If
that's
they
what a sanctuary city is. It's where an illegal alien can come there, and that's their sanctuary. They don't have to worry about it. They'll hide them. They'll do whatever they have to do. That's what it is.
If they're hiding them, I arrest them. Arrest them. And you know what? Even if you think that, hey, Jack, put somebody through the process. Put J.B. Pritzker through the process. At the very least, can I see one of these people get put through the process and have their political career ruined? Can I?
Can't we just replace Pam Bondi? She is the head. Okay, look at this. So she's the head of the DOJ. She's the attorney general. That means that she's the head of the FBI. She's the head of the CIA. She's the head of everything. The top law enforcement agent in the country. So they will not do something without her say so. So it's her that is holding all of this back.
Listen, we've talked about it. Pam Bondi, for anything good that she's done, the messaging has been awful. The whole Epstein saga started because of her awful messaging. And like you said, she doesn't seem to be aggressive enough when it comes to this stuff.
Aggressive at all. Aggressive at all.
So, right. So she doesn't seem to have the, cojones to take the shot. And at this point, like I said, I want one of these people, Pritzker, Newsom, Karen Bass, maybe Mamdani coming up, who actually just put a video out today telling illegal aliens what rights they have. One of these people need to be made an example of at the very least, please, because if this was the other way around, and I keep saying it, but it's true, I've watched it my whole life, things would be happening. The Democrats will not waste 1 second, not a second, when they retake power doing what they said they're going to do. And you mentioned it, I think, last week, where I think Swallowswell said it, where we are going after them. They will go after Pete Hegseth day one for this war crimes crap that they're talking about, which aren't war crimes.
Well, Eric Swalwell, so Eric Swalwell said not just politicians that are helping, Trump supporters. He said the day we get power back, we are going to target anybody that supported Donald Trump. Now, I would have arrested him for that. That is an illegal threat by a person that has, the ability to, use government. I mean, that's a government official threat, basically, is what it is. I mean, that's illegal right there. You can't target somebody based on, whatever it is.
Political ideology.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think that's a protected class is the problem, So.
Well, but I mean, maybe, that's kind of what he's doing though, right? He's saying, if you didn't support us, you supported President Trump, or here's the thing, we're going to at least look into you. Wait, look into me. Wait, it's find me the man, I'll find you the crime. You know what I mean?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think the problem here, though, the biggest problem over anything, and that is the illegal immigrants right now. I mean, all right, so get this. In Maine, right? The Maine DMV was reportedly just caught giving information on how, and this is on camera. It's like an audio thing where the Maine DMV was caught giving information on how an illegal alien from Somalia could get a driver's license despite the fact that he killed someone in a car crash in his own home country. All right, that's one of the things. All right, so listen to this. This is from the Daily Romania. At least 400,000 children, women, and men have been killed or raped by migrants and refugees since 2010 in Europe. Okay, I mean, that is 400,000 is what I just said. That is absolutely sickening. Okay. And then you've got, I mean, there are so many. All right. So there's a video right now of a Somalian protesting President Trump by urinating on his Walk of Fame star in the middle of Los Angeles, pulling out his dick and just urinating on it.
That's illegal.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff that's going on is sickening. Okay. In Charlotte, there was another light rail stabbing. I bet you probably didn't know. There was another light rail stabbing in Charlotte by a twice deported illegal immigrant. It just happened. And I mean, the things that's going on out there have a lot to do with illegal immigrants, but it doesn't start there. It starts with the left. Okay. I mean, look at the, it's actually really, it starts with the media, because without the media, the left has no voice and they wouldn't matter. But let me tell you about the media real quick. Okay. And why. We've already talked about how terrible they are and how much damage they do to American life and how much they've destroyed the country, the media alone. Well, get this. When the January 6th pipe bombing suspect, Brian Cole, was brought out, before, CNN and all these others wouldn't show his picture, but they said he was a 33-year-old white man. They said he was white. And this is on camera. All the CNN, MSNBC, he's a white man.
Jake Tapper.
Yeah, but not just that, but get this. Okay, not only did that happen, but they are trying to say, and this is a true story, they are trying to say, where is it? That the reason he did the pipe bombing is because he believed the 2020 election was stolen. But I'm going to tell you why that can't be true. He wouldn't care if the 2020 election was stolen by Donald Trump. His family sued the Trump administration in 2019 over discriminatory practices. In 2019. Look, all right, so the headline on CNN says DC pipe bomb suspect told FBI he thought 2020 election was stolen, and that's why he did this, despite the fact that him and his family sued the Trump administration the year before for discriminatory practices. The media is the enemy of America. It is inflammatory. It is outright lies. It is the absolute enemy of freedom, of faith, of America. It is your enemy, is what I'm trying to tell everybody.
Listen, they knew this guy for years. And if this guy would have fit the narrative they wanted, they would have bagged this guy a while ago.
They found him like that.
Exactly. And Pam Bondi herself said it. No new evidence, no new witnesses, no new tips. It was all the stuff sitting on desks that we just went through and in burn bags, right? That we went through and found this person in 9 months, or probably sooner. They probably had him, but they might have been just watching him for a while to see what else he was doing. But whatever. They would have brought this guy out years ago. They had him. And now we need an investigation into the investigation, because you're telling me, if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. And it makes no sense that Joe Biden's FBI, who found grandmothers in a group of 100 and whatever thousand people on January 6th and arrested them based on Facebook posts or, FaceTimes or whatever the hell they did, that they didn't have this guy who was putting bombs next to Kamala Harris. Wait a minute. The vice president of the United States was in range of these bombs and you guys couldn't find him. They knew who he was. He didn't fit the right narrative. And now they're coming up with this garbage. Oh, he was against the 2020. He's a Trump supporter. He was upset about it's a bunch of nonsense. This kid looks like he's not a kid, he's 30 years old. He looks like the typical stooge and patsy that they could just manipulate and tell him to say whatever they want. And that's what's going on here. Anyone who believes that this kid's a Trump supporter, you're out of your damn mind.
No, he's clearly, I mean, it's obvious just to anybody that, knows the fact. I mean, hell, like I just said, his family sued the Trump administration the year before for discriminatory practices. I highly doubt he's going to plant a bomb to support Trump.
His family, Jack, his family his father was a bondsman for illegal aliens. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Yes, I think it is, Jack. His father is a bail bondsman for illegal aliens. He's an advocate for illegal aliens. So I think that's what they sued the Trump administration over. It was something along those lines. So it's nonsense. It doesn't make sense. And when it doesn't make sense, I'll say it again. It is not true.
No, and it's all, and like I said, all of this again, even the pipe bombing, everything that the CIA and the FBI and anything that they can do, it all comes down to the media. The media is what perpetuates every single problem that we have. If the media was not amplifying certain things and pushing down others, then I mean, if it was actually let's say it was a neutral media, imagine how much different the world would be. Oh, there would be way less violence. There would be probably no racism. There wouldn't be people, just running out and killing each other. There wouldn't be illegal aliens crossing the border all the time. It would just be, and it's just ridiculous the way things have gotten. I mean, let me tell you something else that's absolutely crazy. Okay. And I'm trying to find, this actually came out. This is actually from other countries, but I want people to hear some of the things that are going on. And this isn't just about illegal immigrants, but it's about freedom in general and what's going on. So, in Germany, okay, and you know how Germany is one of those countries that punishes people for social media posts, right? So a German court actually gave a woman a harsher punishment than the convicted rapist for calling him a disgraceful pig. She called him a disgraceful pig. She got a harsher punishment than he did for being the convicted rapist. And that's not, that's not the only kind of thing that happens around here. I had one more that I wanted to show you. I mean, I can't find it at the moment, but I mean, the things like that are happening all the time, and it's coming to America. That's what people don't understand is that, yes, people say, oh, we have the Constitution, so it could never happen here. It's not about the Constitution. In order for the Constitution to matter, it has to be enforced. If people decide to stop enforcing the Constitution, then it just doesn't matter anymore. Let me tell you how much, and this is actually really good, okay? This is per a study that was done in the Netherlands, okay? This is how much actual value that immigrants add to a country, okay? Immigrants from North America, and this is a lifetime contribution per immigrant. If it's an immigrant from North America, no matter what country they go to, an immigrant from North America averages $573,000 positively, in their lifetime contribution to wherever they go. If it's from Japan, it's positive 525,000. The UK positive 481,000. Well, get this. If it's from the Middle East, negative $624,000 lifetime contribution. Because what they do is they'll steal or they'll take a lot of the welfare, food stamps, all that other shit and not have a job. And that takes money away. So that's negative contribution. If you're from the Caribbean, Somalia is the #1 negative contributor lifetime as an immigrant. Each single immigrant from Somalia lifetime contribution is negative $1.1 million. And if you think I'm lying, I want to give you some crazy statistics. Okay, so I just said that Somalians contribute negative $1.1 million lifetime contribution to anywhere they go. Let me tell you why. Immigrants from Somalia overwhelmingly rely on government welfare. In Norway, 73% of Somalia immigrants are on government aid. In Sweden, 64% of Somalia immigrants do not have jobs or education. In Denmark, 69% of Somalia immigrants are on public benefits. In America, 88% of Somalians rely on the welfare program.
By design. That's why they're bringing them here. The more people that are on the government programs, the more powerful the government is, the more everybody needs it. And
That's the thing right there. If you're
that's
dependent
it.
on the government, they own you.
Exactly. And here's the thing with immigration. Immigration is not supposed to be for the benefit of the person immigrating. Their immigration into the country is supposed to be for the benefit of the country they're immigrating into.
Exactly. Otherwise, why let them in?
Exactly. Otherwise, why? And whenever, here's the thing. I'm glad to take every doctor or lawyer or whoever else, from all these countries, if they want to come here and, and learn our medicine and graduate from our medical school. That's great. I'm fine with it. But shouldn't that upset Democrats that we're taking the best and brightest out of these countries? Or they just want the worst? That's what it is. They just want the worst. They could care less when they talk about doctors and look at all the people. No, you could care less about doctors coming here. You want the worst here so you could get them on government programs. That's the bottom line. And if those numbers don't prove that, I don't know what else does. Because that is, and President Trump, when he talks about it, and he's been real strong language on Somalia especially, he's right again.
Well, they absolutely want the worst of the worst. And the reason they want the worst of the worst is because that worst of the worst helps them change ideology. Let's say that you are a capitalist country, okay? And capitalism helped you become one of the most powerful people in the world now. You're rich and you're one of the most powerful people in the world. So you don't want capitalism anymore because, yes, it helped you get to where you are, but you want to rule over people. So you don't want capitalism anymore. You want communism. How do you get communism? You flood countries with diversity. Oh, diversity is a good thing. Multiculturalism is a good thing. You make sure the media pumps that point out. It's a good thing, diversity, multiculturalism. But let me tell you something. If multiculturalism takes over your country, if your country is multicultural, you don't have a culture. You can't have multiculturalism and a single culture for your country. And they know that. So what do? They want the worst of the worst. They want the ones that will commit the crimes. They want the ones that will crash the welfare system. They want the ones that will get on Social Security and bleed the country dry. They want the economy to crash. They want crime to rise. And why do they do all that? Because once that happens and America crashes, they can blame it on capitalism. Capitalism is what toppled America. Come to communism. Follow us. We will clean up the country. Once they clean up the country, they rush in. They take all the migrants out. They make sure all the police and military are fully equipped to do everything they need. Then they say, see, communism cleaned up this country. Communism is the ideal you need to follow. So I and a few of my fellow mates right here, we are going to rule this country the communist way. And if you want it to stay happy and good, you follow us. Otherwise, it'll go right back to the capitalist shithole it was.
Yeah, it's a Jedi mind trick. And that's what I was talking about with the elites and the media. Like I said, they'll be fine. Oh, yeah. They'll be fine. Oh, yeah. They'll be the ones ruling. They'll be the ones above everybody else. It's them and then everybody else. They want a class. They want two classes, them and everybody else. It's a Cloud Piven strategy. And
exactly. Right. Explain to everybody what that is real quick.
Well, basically the simple part of it is they're just trying to, they're trying to overwhelm the system. So once the system gets overwhelmed and crashes, it can then be rebuilt in the socialist / communist image. And part of that is getting people on universal basic income and all those things. Now, we were right there in the 2024 election, because if Kamala Harris would have won this country, if you thought the immigration was bad under Joe Biden, you would have seen nothing yet. You thought 2 million people in 1 year was a lot. You would have had 2 million people in 2 months coming through this country. You thought the flights into towns like Springfield and other places around the country were bad. There would have been so much plane traffic, you wouldn't have been able to go on vacation because all the planes would have been used to be flying people in here. The skies would have been too crowded for you to take a flight. So, and I'm not, listen to me, is that a little hyperbolic? Maybe a little, but that is what they would have done. They would have crashed the system, like you just said, and said, look, it failed. We tried this. Now we have to go to this. Trust us. It's always this, Jack. Just give us more time, more of your money. Utopia awaits. We swear.
Oh, of course. It's always the trust us, scenario. And that's the reason that we're in the situation that we're in now. The problem is if we could just collapse the media, that is what is putting us, like I said many times, that is why we are where we are right now. The media is what is causing all of our problems. Even though we are the new media now, we're only the new media for people that are awake. Half the country is still asleep. and they still trust CNN. They still trust MSNBC, HLN, all this other BS. They trust them, ABC, CBS, to give them their news. That's where they get their local nightly news. Let's watch CBS and ABC for the local nightly news. They make you scared of Trump. Oh, orange man bad, foreign man good. That's their whole policy. And the problem is those people believe the media are telling them the truth, when in fact those media will do whatever they are told. They will say whatever they are told. They don't tell the truth. They tell whatever they are told to tell. Exactly. And that's a huge, it's just, that's everything. Let me give you an idea real quick of what the media's stories are right now. Here's a story that the media has worked tirelessly on, and I want you to hear the headline. This is where we are with the mainstream media now, and how tirelessly they work at the truth and the hard-hitting stories. This is from the New York Post. Women's farts smell worse than men's, and there's science to back it up.
What?
That's one of their leading stories today. What it is it's garbage for the mindless. Okay? It's just garbage. They feed you your daily dose of garbage. Oh, I want the mindless, I don't have to think bullshit. And then that way, everything they feed them is stuff where they don't have to think hard, right? So then when they feed them headlines about other things, it just automatically goes in with that other garbage. You see what I'm saying? They feed you mindless bullshit where you don't have to think. Then when the stuff that's important comes along, they feed you the headlines, not the whole story, just the headlines. And then that it goes into your head, that's the truth, whatever it is.
Yeah, listen, like you said, and we'll keep saying it. A neutral media, first of all, President Trump would probably have a 75% approval rating. With a neutral media, somewhere between 60 and 75% would be his approval rating. Yeah. And all this other stuff would go by the wayside. But, I don't know. It's such a weapon that they do have when it comes to the media, the Democrats and the left. It is, and even the diminished state that it is in, like you said, it is still a very, very powerful weapon that we just don't have. We just don't. We're not on Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, even Fox. So What you're seeing now, Jack, also, if you noticed, and this is playing right into this discussion, President Trump's going out on his economy tour tomorrow. He starts out in Pennsylvania. I believe he's going to the Poconos. And all of a sudden today on X, you saw the talking points go out. Oh, my God, the economy's worse than it's ever been. The layoffs are going to be like 2008. All the big accounts have put it out. And all today. You think that's an accident? Now you're going to hear it ramped up, the hysteria ramped up to 100 as President Trump goes out on his economy tour because he has to, because the Republicans have somehow allowed themselves to be tagged with this affordability problem that Joe Biden caused when inflation was probably at about 30% in June of 2022, when before that, they were telling us that inflation was transitory for a year and a half. Okay. Yeah. So again, we're 10 months, 11 months into President Trump's presidency, and all of a sudden, nobody could afford anything. Everything's going to go to hell. And yes, there are some cracks. The labor market is softening, which actually isn't a bad thing. It's not a horrible thing. If you really want to drive the last stake into inflation, the labor market has to go down. It has to soften. So this isn't the most horrible thing in the world, but they're going to make it sound like Armageddon, the end of the world, and it's all planned. They took the binder off the shelf, and now they're all reading the binder. And get ready for more of it. And please don't panic. Don't be fooled by it. You guys know what you see out there. You see where the problems are, but you see where the good things are too. And pay attention to that as well. Don't believe the hype.
Well, you know what worries me, and that is what's going on in what used to be Great Britain. Now it's just Britain. What's going on in the UK? It's scary stuff because the UK is ground zero for trying things out. I want to get this in the US, so let me try it out in the UK, see how it goes. If it goes well, we're going to bring it to the US. Let me tell you where they are in the British criminal justice system in 2025. There was a woman recently, her name is Elizabeth. She was beaten up by a male acquaintance, resulting in a fractured skull as well as other injuries. Although he was initially arrested, he's not been charged with assaulting her, but she was charged and prosecuted for using a homophobic slur when talking about him to a third party via text.
Incredible.
All right, so let me for everybody that doesn't understand, he beat the hell out of her, cracked her skull wide open. He was not charged. She was charged because while talking to a friend via text, she called him a faggot in that text. 11 police officers turned up to her house. 10 of them were male. They let themselves in, went up to the bathroom where she was taking a bath, then insisted on watching her dry off and dress, despite her being in tears and asking them to allow her some dignity. This is the British criminal justice system in 2025. This is who they consider to be the real criminals and how they are prepared to treat them. And if you think it's going to stop at the UK just because there's a sea between us, you haven't been paying attention.
Jack, what are they charging her skull with assaulting his fist? Because I think that'll be the next charge.
I think that will be the next charge because I think he got a scratch on his knuckle. And, right. Since she called him a faggot, she's fair game.
Well, listen, Jack, you mentioned a story a little while ago in Portland. It already is here.
Yeah, that's true.
It sounds very similar to me.
Well, he was acquitted, whereas this woman was charged for calling the guy a faggot in a text to her friend. 11 police officers raided her house, made her get out of the bath naked in front of them and put on clothes, and 10 of those 11 officers were male.
Well, listen, I've said it. I've been saying it for a while. Before I started doing the program with you, I said I don't understand why we're still carrying out normal relations, diplomatic relations with England. I just don't understand
UK in general. I mean, the European Union.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really just don't understand it because democracy. These aren't democracies anymore. This is not, and thank God we're not a democracy. Like I want to clear that up right now. I understand the United States is not a democracy, and it drives me crazy when Republicans use the word. It absolutely drives me up the wall. Like you see how I'm getting right now. I can't take it. And American citizens. This is a country of citizens, not a country of immigrants. We're a country of citizens. Okay, but again, with England and the EU, and I know Vice President Vance very early on in the administration. Remember, we went to Germany, and he took a lot of flack for that. But was he wrong? No,
he told him he said the truth when he went up there.
Exactly.
He said the truth. And for people that don't know, the reason what Jay was saying is we're not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic because we are ruled by a constitution. See, democracy is essentially mob rule. Yeah. What it is now we elect representatives, but those representatives by majority can unilaterally do whatever the hell they want. That is democracy. Okay, in America, a constitutional republic, we elect representatives, but those people cannot do unilaterally whatever the hell they want by majority. They are bound by the Constitution to not go too far. That is why we are a constitutional republic, not a democracy.
Democracy is the tyranny of the majority, period. And whoever offers the most free ice cream wins.
Democracy is the beginning of tyranny, actually.
Well, and listen, even when the ice cream's all melted, they'll offer it and they'll win. And then they'll tell you, oh, it melted. Sorry, we'll get more. Again, trust us. We know what to do. Give us more money, a little more ice cream, and we'll be all right. It's the same story over and over again. And isn't it amazing how the Democrats, they love Maduro. They love this guy. All of a sudden, wait, you can't go after Maduro. What is it? Maduro? What? Wait, what? They loved Hugo Chavez when he took over that country in 1998. What happened to Venezuela? Venezuela went from the richest country on the continent to being where they were using money for toilet paper because it was worth more as toilet paper than actual money. And they were literally eating dogs and cats because there was nothing else. So these Democrats, Jack, we don't have a serious American opposition party at this point. Okay. We have what is in England. We have what is in the EU. That is what is on the opposite side of the aisle. As horrible as some of these Republicans are, okay, I will take it right. If I had to, gun to my head, I'll vote for the bad Republican before I'll vote for any Democrat at this point. That is how bad that party is. That is how awful and how non-American they are.
No, you're absolutely right. Before we go, I want to read a tweet by somebody that it struck a nerve with me. It is absolutely 100% the truth. And it'll take a few minutes, but it's important. I want everybody to hear this, okay? It is by @SteveLovesAmmo. He follows me on X, and I follow him, and he's really good. This tweet right here.
That's a good account. Yeah, that's a great account.
Yeah, this tweet right here is absolutely right on the money, okay? He said, "Here is why I am angry and going absolutely nuclear now. You don't open the southern border by accident. You don't mandate deadly vaccines by accident. You don't give money and weapons to the Taliban by accident. You don't leave Americans stranded in Afghanistan by accident. You don't arrest Americans protesting the results of an election by accident. You don't essentially eliminate the strategic petroleum reserves by accident. You don't send billions of unchecked money overseas while Americans are struggling by accident. You don't allow American troops to be attacked by Iranian-backed militants and not respond by accident. You don't allow Chinese balloons to spy on American bases and nuclear sites by accident. You don't release sanctions against Iran by accident. You don't install a Democrat nominee with 0 delegates by accident. You don't give more media attention to Donald Trump's McDonald's visit over his 2 assassination attempts by accident. You don't hastily leave Afghanistan, ignore the intelligence, and let 13 American service members die by accident. You don't beg 51 former intelligence officials to lie on a document stating Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation by accident. You don't allow unvetted foreigners into this country that are harming American citizens by accident. You don't have a 2-tiered justice system for the simple fact of political persecution by accident. You don't allow for rampant inflation, high fuel costs, and high grocery and taxes by accident. You don't use gain of function to enhance a bioweapon, release it onto the population, and profit from it by accident. You don't accept Chinese and Ukrainian money to enrich your family and sell out your country by accident. And most importantly, you don't rig and steal elections by accident. There are 0 coincidences and nothing happens by accident. People need to understand we witnessed in real time, well-coordinated and taxpayer dollar paid treason from the Uniparty. The sad part about this is just the literal tip of the iceberg. There must be accountability for America's sake. And that is exactly what we preach here on Secret America.
My favorite saying, one of them anyway, Jack, and you've heard me say it, you can't be this bad by accident.
You're absolutely right.
So when we see something like, wait a minute, no, that's on purpose. You can't be as bad as the Biden administration was on just about everything by accident.
And it's amazing how many people are willing to take that as an excuse as, oh, he was just inept, when he wasn't even the one running the country, but yet he's inept. So that's why all these things happen. He was just inept. Oh no, just the leader of the free world, but he's inept. He's a retard. He doesn't know what he's doing. So we'll give him a pass. That was America for 4 years. We'll give him a pass. He's an idiot. Oh, you got an idiot running America and you're like, oh, he's just an idiot. We'll give him a pass. That's what they're doing, when in reality, all these things were done to get a stranglehold on America, to where now they run everything. The petroleum reserves, they are gone. And now that's why gas prices are super high. If say Saudi Arabia decided to withhold oil production from us, we have no reserves now. What are we going to do? They can literally destroy America. They can destroy us by stopping OPEC, stopping their oil production and shipping to America. They can actually bring our country to a standstill.
And meanwhile, we have a president who's trying to change all that, and all he gets is flack.
That's why he gets flack. It's because they don't want him changing what they spent 4 years building.
Could you imagine what gas prices would be right now, Jack, if Kamala Harris was the president? I mean, with Donald Trump, they're down. There's some place in the country where you're looking at $2.10 to $2.30 a gallon right now.
Well, if you want the truth, I don't think we would still have gas at this point. I think at this point we would probably be forced on a quicker timeline for electric-only mandated vehicles.
What are they going to do with the grid? What would they do with the grid? The grid can't handle this. Will happen.
I think that's the whole point of it. The grid cannot handle it, and they want to bring down America. People that say, "Oh, but that would result in this or that would result in that." That's the whole point of it. They want to bring down America, and they're willing to do whatever it takes.
Well, real quick, Jack, real quick.
Go ahead.
President Trump today was caught on a hot mic, basically saying that he's getting sick and tired of the Republicans allowing the Democrats to run out the clock.
That's what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. And the
Republicans
are doing nothing.
No, well, maybe it wasn't maybe he wasn't quote unquote caught on a hot mic. Maybe he was caught on a hot mic on purpose.
Oh, he's always. I mean, that text that he sent as a tweet was not
Bondi.
a fake text to Bondi. No,
Right.
that was that. He was trying to send that here and let people read it, then delete it and say, "Oh, that was my bad." They're just like the hot mic. Nothing he does is by accident. He's a very smart man.
I agree. So before we get out of here, Jack, I got kind of a funny little thing here about the World Cup. Okay.
Yeah.
So this year, that World Cup, there's going to be a Pride game, a Pride Day. Of course, you have to have that, Jack, right? I mean,
it sounds like fun. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. And apparently FIFA is not technically endorsing it or they're allowing it, but they're not the ones who are putting it together. But they're allowing it to happen on a certain day. So do you know what game by chance was drawn to be the Pride Day game, Jack? You know what the two countries are?
The two countries?
Yes, the two countries that are going to play the Pride game.
Oh, man, I wish it was cities. One of them could be Bangkok from Thailand. That would be awesome, man.
Oh, you're going to love it.
What is it?
It's Iran and Egypt.
Oh, wow.
On Pride Day, Jack. How does that go in those countries?
That's actually awesome because it's the opposite of Pride. That is awesome. I actually think that might have been done for a reason, and I think that's brilliant. I think it's brilliant.
Jack, can you have a Pride game in Iran? How would the players be running around headless?
I know that is actually brilliant. I'll give you some props there. Egypt and Iran on Pride Day. That is brilliant. That is really good.
Listen, once we're done, just go on X and just put that in and enjoy reading the
I will. I'm gonna check that out for sure. Real quick though, before we go, I want everybody to know, okay? And I want you to check this before you next time you go out shopping. Anybody that shops at Home Depot, I'm putting this out there. Home Depot is now rounding down on your change and keeping the difference, apparently. There are people that were that said he paid at Home Depot. They got their change. It was supposed to be $10.51, but the cashier tries handing him $10.50. And then he says, we don't have pennies anymore. We round it down now. Okay. So they are no longer using pennies. They're actually stealing your money by rounding it down. And I said, well, why not round up? Why don't you round up? No. We're rounding it down. So if it's $10.57, you get $10.55 back.
Wait a minute. What if it's $10.53? I better get $10.55.
Oh, no, you get $10.50. They round it down.
That's not math.
Yeah.
That's not. Listen, I was told there'd be no math, but at the same time, when I was taught it was number 3, you round up to 5.
Oh, you're supposed to, but at Home Depot, they make sure they keep your money. So even though pennies have been canceled, if you will, then what they need to do is not make, change where their prices to where their pennies will be an option.
That's it.
That's all. You don't round down and take my money.
No,
and if that happens, I'm going to videotape it and put it on here for everybody to see.
It's either 5 or 0.
Exactly. That's all it can be. 5 or 0. That's it. And, I hope we, Jay, I think we solved all of the world's problems that we can for a few days. Real quick, one quick announcement, Jay.
Yeah.
For all you Secret America lovers out there, do not fret. It will not be another week until you hear from us. From now on, we will be doing shows on Mondays and Thursdays. Secret America is coming to you live Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So it will be Mondays and Thursdays. Jay, I don't think people are ready for it, man. I can hear them. They're cheering, they're clapping. There's people, in warehouses, people in front of televisions right now out on the streets. They're screaming, they're crying. They've got confetti thrown up in the air. It is going to be every Monday and Thursday. We got fans. Look at Deborah. She's very excited. There are a lot of people that are happy about this. Jay, are you happy? I want to know.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I mean, listen, we can't wait that long because you just can't do it in this political climate, Jack. I think we could do a show Monday and then Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday and Friday also, but we can't. We just don't have the time. But I'm glad we're doing 2 shows a week. And I think when you announced it, the ball did come down in Times Square. They did it on time. We arranged it. And the people, they are dancing in Times Square right now.
Oh, yeah. They're watching us right now in Times Square. For all our fans in Times Square, hello. Yes, they are watching us. And yes, it will be Mondays and Thursdays. So it's going to be a lot of fun because, as Jay said, there is so much going on that we can't wait a full week to bring you, all the secrets and all the hidden stories anymore. It's got to be Mondays and Thursdays. That way it's separated pretty well. And there's going to be a lot to talk about this Thursday. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. But we have solved all the problems we can solve for 3 days now. No longer a week, but we've solved all the problems we can for 3 days. So for Jay Gatling, I am Jack Danger, and we thank you for watching Secret America.
You've been listening to Secret America.